welcome to my solve videos. Today we will learn how to apply data validation on the date field. This video is the second episode in the data validation series, the first being for the text length data validation. If you haven't seen it yet, no worries. I will be putting a link to that video at the end of this course. Date field is one of the widely used data type in any data set. No matter what kind of data set you work on, you're bound to have one or more fields that are dates. It can be the date when the product was sold or the date when an employee joined the company. So rest assured that you will in some or the other form will come across date field. Data validation for date ensures that only those date values are added in the sheet that satisfies a particular condition. For example, you opened a shop on 1st January 2020. So all your transactions due to sale of your product will happen on or after 1st January 2020. But what if while typing in your transaction, you committed a mistake? Instead of typing 2nd January 2020 for a transaction, you typed in 1st January 2019 and you were not able to identify the mistake at that time. This one error can compromise the quality of your data. Therefore, data validation checks whether the information entered follow all the rules mentioned while applying data validation. Now let's see how we can apply this. In the spreadsheet, you can see that we have some conditions mentioned in column A. And in column B, we have the dates. We will be applying the validation in each cell of column C as per the condition mentioned in column A. So for example, in cell C3, whatever date we type in should be greater than equal to 1st January 2020. Likewise for all the cells in column C. Let's see how we can apply this condition. I will put my cell selection on the cell on which I have to apply the validation, that is C3. I will click on data in the ribbon. Then I will click on data validation button. This will open a window of which we can already see a snapshot. Under the settings tab, I will open allow drop down and will select date. I am telling Excel that the validation should be applied on a date type field. After selecting date, we can see that there are many conditions visible in the data drop down. We have conditions like between, not between, equal to, not equal to, etc., etc. As per our conditions in cell A3, I will select greater than or equal to. Now, Excel is asking for start date, that is to say the date from which the entered value should be greater than or equal to. Condition wants the date to be greater than or equal to 1st January 2020. So I will manually type in 1st January 2020. You must have noticed that in the spreadsheet, we have two more tabs at the top. One is the input message tab and the other is the error alert tab. We will see about them in a short while. I will click OK. Now, my condition has been applied. Let's test the condition. I will type in 2nd January 2020 and will press enter. This fulfills the condition. Now I will type 15th January 2020. This too fulfills the condition. Let's type 20th August, but instead of typing 20th August 2020, I will type 20th August 2019. This is not fine. You see here that we are given an error message telling that value does not fulfill the data validation condition. Let's try another one. 31st December 2019. This too is less than 1st January 2020. Therefore, we are again seeing an error. Okay, so you must have got a gist of it. Let's apply all these conditions one by one. Row 4 says that the date in the cell C4 should be between 1st January 2020 and 31st January 2020. You may require such kind of conditions for an event. So for example, you organize a marketing event for a month. Therefore, you want to make sure that all the data that is entered for that particular marketing event is having a date between that period of the month. So apply validation for this field. I will go to data in the ribbon. I will click data validation option. Under the settings tab, I will open allow drop down. In the drop down, I will select date. In the data dropdown, I will select the condition between, which is already selected. Now I will have to give two dates, the start date and the end date. I will give start date as 1st January 2020 and I will give end date as 31st January 2020 and I will press OK. Now let's check if the validation is working fine. I will type in the value 6th January 2020. This is fine. It should give me an error if I type a value that is after 31st January 2020. So I will type 2nd February 2020 and as expected, we can see the error. Now let's move on to the third condition, that is less than or equal to 31st December 2020. I will follow the same steps to open data validation window. I will select date under the allow drop-down and in the data drop-down, I will select less than or equal to. I need to provide the end date, so I will type in 31st December 2020 and will press OK. Let's check. I will type in 1st April 2020. This is fine. Now as per the validation condition, I should get an error when I add a value that is after 31st December 2020. I will add 1st January 2021 and see if I get an error. And I do. The validation is correct. In a similar way, we can apply all the other conditions that are there in the validation functionality. I hope you understand or you got the hang of how to apply data validation condition in specific cells. Now let's look at what does the other two tabs in data validation functionality do. You do not have visibility to column A and column B. So for doing that, I'll go ahead and I'll hide them. Now, how will you know what type of data or what type of condition is applied on which cell? One way is that you keep on trying until an acceptable value is added under that particular condition, or I can put a note on that cell telling you about the type of condition applied on a particular cell. This is where we can use the input message tab. So I will select cell C3 where I have to add the note. I will open the data validation window. I will click on the input message tab. I want to show my message when the cell is selected, so I will leave it as checked. In the title, I will type greater than equal to 1st January 2020. And in the input message, I will add date value should be after 1st January 2020 and not before that. And I will click OK. So now we have a message on cell C3 telling us about the condition. In case we are not aware of the condition, we still will get to know from the input message note here. Now let's understand about the error alert tab. We have seen that whenever we input an unaccepted value, we are given an error that says that this value does not match the data validation restrictions defined for this cell. This is a default error message inbuilt in the Excel tool. But error alert tab gives us the flexibility to customize the error alert that we can get when we input a wrong value. For example, I want my error alert for the cell C4 to say that value entered is not between 1st January 2020 and 31st January 2020. And for doing this, I will select the cell C4 and I will open the data validation window. I will go to the tab error alert and in the title, I will type validation error. And in the error message, I will type the message I want to see on my error alert. Here, the message I need is value entered is not between 1st January 2020 and 31st January 2020. And I will press OK. Now I will type a wrong value, that is 31st December 2020, and will press enter. You can see I got the customized error alert. Data validation functionality is widely used by data entry operators or the users which are constantly keeping and adding data in the spreadsheets. This functionality will automate the check mechanism and will keep the integrity of your data intact. I hope you learned something new today. Please like and share if you found it helpful. Thank you so much for watching this video.